So Pokemon Legends ZA has been out for a little bit by this point, and after playing and beating it, I can say it is certainly one of the games of all time. And I think I just want to get my thoughts out there on it, as it does a lot of things that I really like and hope to see in future titles. Now, watching all the trailers and the build up to the game, I was cautiously optimistic. The idea of just taking place in one city, how are they going to fill that city with enough content, as well as make all the separate areas visually distinct from one another? Moreover, we're shown that this game has a completely reworked battle system, which while Legends Arceus changed up a tiny bit, this is a complete rework. But from all the images and videos shown, it just looks so simplistic, kind of just like you're waiting for the cooldowns to go down to attack again. And none of the trailers or anything really showed off what the story was going to be like in this, so I was very skeptical. I liked Legends Arceus, so I knew it could have potential. Plus, I love Kalos. And then all the leaks started rolling out with the new Mega designs and whatnot, which had me side-eyeing some of the new Megas, but I tried to just keep an open mind and wait till the game released to give my full thoughts. And one thing I was immediately surprised by was how much emphasis they put on the story. Now, maybe it's just me, but I'm not usually playing Pokemon games for the story. Most of the time, they just feel underbaked or all over the place. And even the good ones usually just push everything aside to focus on the champion battle at the end. Even Legends Arceus kind of fumbled in this bag a little bit. Like, seriously, what was the point of making him an isekai protagonist? Also, Arceus didn't even do anything in the story. It was all about Dialga and Palkia. Arceus just shows up as a secret post-game boss. So color me surprised when they put respect on my man Zygarde's name. There's actually an overarching goal which makes you become the strongest Mega Evolution user in order to stop the evil tower. And to do that, you gotta go all the way from Z to A, all while trying to deal with the rogue Mega Evolution pandemic. All while part of Team MZ, a group of kiddos with their own goals and ambitions. This game puts a lot of focus on these characters as you're going to be talking to them quite a lot. And for the most part, I found their dialogue pretty enjoyable. They get introduced as, one-note stereotypes. You get a sewer, you get a dancer, you get a good person who helps people. But as the story continues, you get to learn more about them, like how they feel about curry and croissants. Which FYI looks delicious to me, I don't know what Naveen's on. And even a lot of the side characters were enjoyable too. I love the Rust Syndicate and High Battle Society arcs. They're just such cool ideas I couldn't see a mainline Pokemon game pulling off. And as a longtime fan, I did appreciate all the callbacks and cameos and whatnot. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and there was even something that happened after the credits which I did not see coming at all. So yeah, I'd say I found myself quite enjoying most of the story and characters. With that said, I did not like Kanari. It's not the fact that she's a strong trainer, or a streamer, or an electric type user, but it's the fact that she's all of those things when we just got Iono with Scarlet and Violet. Like, come on! I also didn't really like the whole simp competition either. But enough about the story for now, let's talk about the map. I sure hope you like Paris, cause you're not leaving once you get in. It's really funny how our character's just here visiting as a tourist and somehow gets roped into all this world-saving nonsense. But yeah, Lumiose City is pretty alright. It's by far and away the biggest city in Pokemon to date. It doesn't really come close. The amount of shops, cafes, side quests, alleyways, routes, trainers, Pokemon, etc. There is a lot to do and see in here. However, while it is densely packed with things to do, the actual size itself is probably not as big as you would expect. And the range of scenery is not all that noticeable. Got a few parks, streets, construction sites, and a little sewer area. Just a little sewer area. But yeah, I think this is everyone's expectation when we all heard that it was only going to take place in Lumiose, which is not a bad thing in concept as long as they did it right. And again, it is very densely packed with things to do, so it's not as much of a bad thing as it normally would be. But one thing I do enjoy, and think it is good, is the combat. For years, I have been hoping and praying that Pokemon would finally embrace an action RPG gameplay style. If you look, it's one of my first ever videos on this channel talking about that concept. And finally, my prayers have somewhat been answered. While you don't take control of the Pokemon directly, you choose what moves you want to use in real time, with moves that were just used being set on cooldown so you can't just spam them. Now thinking about it, if I had to compare it to anything, it's kinda like a super watered down Xenoblade 2 or 3. It doesn't get nearly as complex or crazy as in those games, but the general style is there. And while it is simplistic, I just found this to be such a nice breath of fresh air. Being able to move around, choose where I want to use my moves, finish battles before they even start. Battles just feel so much more snappier now. No longer waiting for the Pokemon to use a move, then get 7 debuffs at the same time, followed by the opposing Pokemon using their attacking move, then the animation plays, then your health bar goes down. Those small little annoyances kind of add up along the way. But now, it just feels a lot more streamlined. With that being said though, this ain't perfect, because as stated, as of it is now, it's a bit simplistic. Not nearly as much depth as the turn-based style. A lot of the special moves didn't feel too much worth it just because they take so long to fire. And sometimes when you're exploring the world and battling, your Pokemon will get stuck on random objects and their moves won't connect. Like they'll just get stopped by a crate or a bench, which you could see as a skill issue, but It's annoying regardless. And as for the selection of Pokemon this time around, I'd say we got a good healthy mix here. I know the DLC is undoubtedly going to add more, but for what we got the Kalos gang, plus some old returning favorites which haven't seen light of day in a long time. It's been too long, Watchog. And Furfrou, which is shocking how he hasn't been in recent games, but still. And the starters this time around are interesting to say the least. Chikorita, Totodile, and Tepig. 2 Gen 2 reps and 1 Gen 5. I still think it's a little bizarre of a trio, but hey, I'm picking Emboar anyway, so why do I care? And just saying, but as far as the new Megas go, he definitely has the best one out of the starters. Design-wise, at least. Feraligatr definitely has better stats. But then we got the Megas! All original Megas are here, and so are a couple new ones. And just like the old batch, we got some bangers, some okay ones, and one or two that are a little questionable. Look at you, Pyroar. I would have also thrown Starmie in there, but honestly, after seeing some videos on him, I've kind of turned the other way around. But yeah, as someone who likes Megas, I'm happy to see more. It was extremely easy picking a team that could all Mega Evolve this time around. Though luckily, if you don't want to use a Mega Pokemon, you can still use Plus moves. So that's nice. They're especially helpful against those rogue Mega Evolution Pokemon, serving as the alpha bosses from Arceus. I think they're just kind of okay. Most of them just felt like damage sponges. You do some minor movements to dodge some attacks and just keep on waiting till your cooldowns go down and press the A button. There's some near the late game that get a little more challenging, but still. And then there's the ZA Battle Royale, the whole reason why it's called ZA in the first place. Very cool concept. And I think it's executed pretty nice. It is extremely satisfying being able to sneak up to your opponent and start the battle before they even have a chance to react. And getting bonus cards and trying to achieve many objectives while battling just adds a little bit of something to keep the mind stimulated. And in the early and mid game, if you don't have enough healing items, you could potentially be in a little bit of pickle. It's probably the closest Pokemon's ever come to a roguelike, which is a-okay by me. Oh my god, there's even more stuff to talk about, like the customization. After being severely disappointed at Scarlet and Violet's customization options, it's nice to see some actual clothing options here. From hair, contacts, shirts, pants, coats, hats, rings, earrings, sunglasses, you got the essentials. Though I have been hearing that the female customization options are a lot more varied than the males, which to be honest I feel like is the case most of the time in other games. And now I'm just kind of talking about topics in no particular order, so now let's talk about Mabel's research. Pretty much the replacement to the catching guide in Legends Arceus. This is essentially the progression guide of battling and catching and whatnot. The objectives and rewards are simple at first, but keep getting more and more advanced as you go on. Pretty sure the amount of battles you have to do is like 1,000, so yeah, have fun with that. I think I ended the game while completing around, I don't know, level 27 or so. So it definitely has enough missions in there to keep you busy until you get that shiny charm. And oh my goodness, thank goodness TMs are infinite again. I know this doesn't mean it's gonna be permanent from now on, but still, thank you. And the wild zones? They're pretty cool. Again, not much variety in terms of scenery, but once you step in it, you're pretty much just playing Legends Arceus. Although now you can beat a Pokemon, then throw a Pokeball, which I also like the music. All the cool remixes of X and Y themes thrown in here just get my nostalgic soul pumping, and the smooth jazz and whatnot for Lumiose City. Ugh. And some of those battle themes just pop off. Especially the battle tournament lady, like oh my goodness. And the graphics are what you'd expect from a Pokemon game on the Switch. Over the years, I've become numb to the graphical presentation of Pokemon, but what irks me is more so the animations itself. Not on the Pokemon, they're fine for the most part. It's mostly just the humans. Anytime they're trying to hand an item to the player, they just reach out their hand awkwardly and holding nothing. And the amount of times people just heal you in this game, the screen flashes white, it gets obnoxious. Just say I got healed and move on. While the footage here is on Switch 1, I did play the game on Switch 2, and the frame rate was smooth and buttery. But if you're playing on Switch 1, I'd imagine people are going to be a little less forgiving. And that's pretty much my general thoughts on it so far. I know the DLC is coming out later next year, but I'm not really sure what they're going to add, besides more Megas, obviously. Like, is it going to be continuing the story, or is it just gonna have its own side thing? Either way, I enjoyed my time with ZA. I don't think it's the best Pokemon game of all time or anything like that, but it's a nice change of pace. I really hope they don't drop this battle system though. I want to see them evolve upon this and move it forward, not just drop it entirely and wait for Legends Gala or whatever. We already know Pokemon Champions is gonna be where they're hosting their VGC tournaments from now on, so I'm hoping that means the mainline games will get more creative. A little bit more innovation, but that's just me talking. I know people who played Arceus thought this was going to be more of an evolutionary step of the franchise, as opposed to just kind of the same thing, but slightly different changes, which is a valid criticism, and while I absolutely would hope for Pokemon Company to do more, at the same time I think it's important to see what's here instead of what could have been here. And for what is here, I found a Pokemon game with a fresh new battle system and a city full of stories and characters that I grew attached to. And at the end of the day, that's really what I want in my Pokemon games. But what did you guys think? Have you played or beaten it yet yourself? Or maybe even just watched some videos on it? Are you perhaps on the fence of buying it? Let me know your thoughts down below. And until next time, see ya! Also, rip to Clement and Bonnie, I guess, because they are nowhere to be found. Also, wait a minute, their whole goal is to find strong trainers. Why did they just use a champion or Elite Four?